Hey, welcome to the garden between us. Now let's talk about something. Let's talk about relationships and why the best relationship you should be cultivating is with your garden. Alright, fast facts. 24 years old and I don't give a fuck about dating. Don't give a fuck about hookups. Don't give a fuck about going down the block, finding a girl and fucking her. Why? Because that's not necessary. I'm 24 years old. It's actually a very young age. Yet, recognizing that is part of what makes me a man. Recognizing I don't have to be chasing and pursuing all the time is what makes me a man. Now, you can have something else than a garden as your purpose in life. For me, this is where I found it, and I think the majority of people will find it here too. So let's do a list of why I rather spend time in the garden than pursuing short-term relationships, or even worse, long-term relationships that are not going to be healthy. Well, here's why I'd rather put my attention on my garden. 1, reciprocation. 2, zero judgment. 3, responsibility. I'll forget if I do any more, so we're gonna go with those 3. So 1, reciprocation. It's a big problem in relationships nowadays. Little to no reciprocation. We put value on things that we are offering and then expect a large amount of value to come back, and they're not actually equal because we overvalued what we have, and it could be tits and it could be ass. It could be some kind of sexual thing in favor. It could be, I picked you up that one time. I bought dinner and this and that, so now I'm entitled to things. So both the guy and the girl both have this ego-centered, I've got to do this. Right now, there's actually a lot of guys who are overdoing, and they're not receiving a lot. And then there's women who are receiving abuse or something in return, but they're continuing to give. It's going both ways, and I'd have to say it's pretty damn equal. And from my perspective as a guy, I can say, actually there's more guys who are getting a lot less than they're putting in. That's from my perspective. I'm biased, I'm looking into that, and I'm gonna mostly talk to gentlemen, or to men who wanna be gentlemen. So, reciprocation. Put a lot of hard work into this garden, and I get abundance. She feeds me. I sowed the seeds, I built a home in the soil, I gathered nutrition and food, and fed and watered her, and she didn't question. She flourished and she provided. Delicious smelling perfumes that are gonna enliven my body and make me feel amazing. She provided. She didn't ask, do you want something? She didn't say, that's not my job. She didn't go, feminism. She fed me. Tough to say with a lot of women nowadays. They'll come up with some excuse, no matter how much work you put in, no matter how much money you spend on her. Always gonna happen. So it teaches me reciprocation. Now here's the other thing. That's a lot of work that I put in that goes to producing this. So that's number 3. That's the responsibility that I am required then to continually foster this relationship. I cannot go, through droughts without watering. I cannot forget to feed and nourish and provide. I cannot simply not build the bed, and I cannot forget to weed. I have to weed out that relationship. I have to nourish, provide the right environment. I'm required to. And she then gives. I gave and filled her up, and she produced more than I put in. That's a miracle. That's the balance of masculine and feminine. The man pours into the woman she receives, and in that magical vessel, more than you put in came out. And that's from everything from putting in the food and babies. Think about that miracle. Yeah, I bet you don't think about babies that way, you piece of shit. You don't think about, well, I did that. It's like, you put in what? This little swimmy guy? A little whipped cream, and it turned a little whipped cream, and it turned into a baby. Baby that has the potential to be better than you, piece of shit, who doesn't think that way. Sorry, no, I'm not sorry. That is my opinion for people who think very little about the process of a baby being born any less than a miracle. To think you have science and that means it's greater than what it is, it ain't, baby. Science is a good tool of describing in this new terminology, but if it doesn't capture the imagination, really look at the full picture, what do you have? Nothing. Nothing is less than a baby. So therefore, fuck you. Okay? But look at those flowers. I got babies. Plenty of babies. They're all my babies. And now I don't have to do anything to them. Now she's taking care of them. What it is actually teaching me that responsibility. If we were all gardeners, we wouldn't be having all these fights and over everything about what are the proper responsibilities. Now, I think every form of person and sexuality is possible. Yeah. It's a sign of, health to have men being born as men, acting as female, vice versa. But now we're trying to completely eradicate it from every single person, that there is a role and responsibility. Without that role and responsibility, the garden does not grow, we do not get fed. There are jobs that require men and jobs that require women. You learn that. You absolutely learn that. It humbles you. It teaches you about what's really going on. I can keep on going with all this stuff. You get my drift. If you hate all this, you probably hate yourself in some way. Sorry, that's how it is, because I'm not being dogmatic. I'm simply saying, hey, I'm growing a garden here. This is what it requires. It's the same thing in a relationship. You deny that. You deny the role of a gardener. You deny what a human being is, and you think it's something more special than what a human is, but you also don't think it's special. What do I mean by that? Well, the relationship I form with this garden, there's also relationships coming back. The cabbage is so important. The soil, the worms are so important. I'm another piece of this garden. I also have the special capabilities of having a mind that can think about many, many different things to be able to foster the development of a garden. It's a reflection of the universe, our mind. And our body, we're the only ones who are bipedal with the fingers and toes that we have, and the mouths, and to be able to carry and transport materials to get this done. That's incredibly special, but still, I need the plant just as much as the plant needs me. And the human-created ecosystem benefits the human, as well as maximizing the diversity that is there, but still, it would live without us. Not that special. That's how things really are. We are, and we are not. We are, and we are not. Everything's half-truth. You gotta start thinking in terms of how things really are. And now, judgment. She's gonna require you to do all these things that you should not do and don't want to do. She's gonna judge you on the way you look. She wants you to have, 6 figures. She wants you to have, BMW 521i minimum as a car, dressed in Gucci and all those other brands. I don't know what guys are supposed to be wearing. And a nice watch. And she's gonna judge you on that. Look what I'm wearing. This is one of my shirts that does not have holes in it. My shoes are very, very old, 4 years old, and I've super glued the bottoms. They're super dirty. They were this nice bright gold color at one point. Shoelaces are ready to rip. Look, I smell a bit. She doesn't judge me. This is how I am. Shows that I'm actually working. Not gonna judge me for it. And I like to dress up and look nice and everything, and I think that's important. But it's not always who I am. and the garden accepts me for being this way. So there's a lot more I have to learn about relationships, a lot more I have to learn about gardening, a lot more I have to learn about being a man, a lot more I have to learn, so many things. And this is what I had to share today. And I know it will help a great many people to listen, because I listen to a lot of people. And I listen before I speak, I observe. And we're seriously lacking a lot of these things. Well, thank you for joining us in the garden between us, a place to meet and greet whilst in bare feet. Have a nice day.